The following is a Productions original series.
Hello and welcome back to Walk and Roll Live. I'm Doug Vincent along with Addie Rich. And top of the good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're listening or whenever we're doing this. And
top of the day, we're glad to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, I'm Doug, and I'm a polio survivor, crutch and brace user for years, and transitioned into a wheelchair user over the past 20 years or so.
And I'm Addie, and I have cerebral palsy. And I primarily use a walker now. I'm headed toward a wheelchair, which I think I'm going to win our race.
Yeah. Oh, did you get some correspondence?
Yes. If you all have been listening, we're trying to race to see who will get it first. And I think it's going to be me. I don't know. I'm voting.
Let's see here. I should have had this ready because I did want to talk about this. Let's see. Forrest, who's been on the show. Let's see. You know, I think this. Yeah, here we go. Found it. Here we go. So he wrote this. Dear Doug and Addie. All right, folks, we're witnessing the ultimate showdown. Doug versus Addie in the Wheelchair Derby 2024. Who will cross the finish line first? Doug, with his filed it 6 months ago confidence, or Addie, who knows how to charm her way through bureaucratic chaos? This race could take weeks, months, or let's be real, until we all need wheelchairs ourselves. Buckle up or wait. Do we have chairs yet? My wager is on Addie with her charm and paperwork mastery. Avid listener.
How cute. Hey, you know who we need too is Kara, our former guest, who likes to do the commentary things, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, probably do that a whole lot better than me.
We need Kara to come in and do a little riff. We'll have her call it. We'll have her call it once we know who got it.
Yes. And as every time you get two wheelchairs together in any crowd, the wager is who's going to say it first. How long will it take for somebody to say, "You guys race"? Is there going to be a race? It's like,
exactly. There's two chairs or more.
Never heard that
There's
before.
An assumed race.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. So how was your week? Did you have a good one?
It was good. It was very good. It was a mountain time.
I was going to say.
Hanging out and doing mountainy things, got boiled peanuts, all that fun stuff. Okay. Now I'm back at the house for a few days, going back tomorrow to get ready for their trick-or-treat.
I'm sorry. Did you ever do boiled peanuts before you moved to Georgia?
No. Have you?
Is it? No. I mean, and when you said boiled peanuts, I think I've heard of them, but...
Yes. So it's basically green peanuts that they put a variety of spices, like Old Bay and different things, and lots of salt, and they boil them, and typically it's in like metal cauldrons because it does something to the taste. It's really good, but it's an acquired taste for sure. So we'll have to get you turned on to that.
Yes.
How was your week?
It was good. It was good. You know, one more peanut fact or observation. I know years ago there was a country song that talked about putting peanuts in your Coke. Now, is that something you've experienced? No. These things I guess are regional. Yeah, I never.
Yeah, I don't know. But, Georgia is like the peanut state.
Yes.
It makes sense that, boiled peanuts.
Yes, I had a good week. It was a little hectic because, we were trying to get a few shows together because I was going to be away. So we got that all handled, and then I went away and had a nice trip. We've been planning this for months and months and months. My brother went to college in Chico, California, and met some wonderful people, as, people do when they go away to college.
Yeah, generally.
And, you have these great friendships, and we all experience this over the course of our lives. We have great friendships, but time and separation and all those things, life, get in the way. Yeah. And it's very hard, as near and dear as these people are to you, to keep these relationships flourishing, right?
For sure.
And you get together once in a while. Well, this group, and I'm blessed to be included in it because I was the brother with it come and visit his older brother in college, all the time up there. And so I got to know these people, and now I'm kind of part of that group, and I feel blessed. But one of them had did a football league, let's call it, like a pool. And that's what kind of that vehicle helped keep them together over the years. They would play wherever they were. They could play this game together, and then it would culminate in a Super Bowl party at one of their houses back in Chico. And they make a whole weekend out of it. They would do, we would do scavenger hunts downtown and just,
I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was fun. So in addition to that, this group gets together from time to time. We'll find some destination, rent a house, and go hang out. Yeah. So that was this weekend. Mm-hmm. And it was fun getting everybody together. You wouldn't believe the food. I mean, one of the gals, whenever I describe her, Cindy, she's like our very own Martha Stewart. She cooked. She cooked, I don't know, about 50 gallons worth of pasta sauce, and we had spaghetti and stuff the first night. And she made, I'm trying to think, 4, 5, 6 different versions of cookies. We ate cookies all weekend long and still had enough for everybody to take a substantial bag of cookies home at the end of the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
It was
infusing
great.
Love into the situation. That must be her love language, is food.
Absolutely. That actually came up over the weekend, that phrase. Absolutely.
There you go.
You can just tell by the sheer volume that it's a lot of work before she ever got there, and then there was a lot of work there. So, yes, definitely. Absolutely. And, and a number of people brought up the podcast, which was very nice.
Nice.
Hey, listen to your podcast. Love it. Arlene and Ruth and Rick and, of course, my brother Drew. So that was nice to hear.
Drew's obligated, but everybody else, yay!
Yeah, absolutely. And went to the Disability Collaborative. Now that we're kind of, even though it's still dropping on Tuesday, our podcast, we do the majority of it on Monday. So Tuesday mornings, I can go to the Disability Collaborative here in Southern California and getting some more guest, nice. Possibilities and that kind of thing, and hopefully get our name out there. So that's where we are. We kind of mentioned her a second ago, but I want to thank Kara again for coming in and talking with us last week. She was like,
so fun.
Yeah, it looks like we may have some things in our future if we follow through.
Right? No, awesome. It's super awesome. Super nice.
Yeah, she's a hoot. And I think my brother was, sufficiently jealous that I got to talk to her because he's the one that referred me to.
You'd be like, hey, not only did we talk to her, we got invited, and it wasn't an invite for you, right? The brotherly thing. It's like one more job.
It depends on how you treat me, Drew. Maybe I could put a word in for you.
See
you
what
can
we
join
can
us.
do.
Yeah. Our new friend, Kara. All right. Coming up today, it is an interview with Curtis Smith with the TruEvolution, which I met him through one of the Disability Collaborative meetings a few months ago. TruEvolution fights for health and equity and racial justice to advance the quality of life and human dignity of LGBTQ plus people. So we'll get a nice conversation with him that we're going to do right after this word from Agyar Professional Training.
At Agyar Professional Training, we know that your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is essential for your business's success and growth. To achieve new heights, it's important to hire intelligent, talented individuals and empower them to excel in their areas of strength and passion. Agyar is committed to transforming your employees into happier, more productive, and fulfilled individuals. When your team thrives, your business prospers. Wise leaders understand that providing team members with opportunities to shine in their strengths unlocks untapped potential. Elevate your team with Agyar Professional Training and witness the growth of your business.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories.
Yes, you are listening to Walk and Roll Live. This is a podcast dedicated to giving a voice to the disabled community, whatever shape or form that takes. And it takes so many. We've barely scratched the surface on all the different kinds of disabilities that we want to get on and give them a chance to tell their story. And this one, this week, 40 years ago, it was very high profile. And over the years, I think with the advancement in treatment, it's kind of fallen off, obviously, the everyday radar, but also I think we think maybe that fight is kind of over, but the fight still goes on. There are still people that are providing services for this community, and we are fortunate enough to have someone on today to talk about that, and we'll let them introduce themselves.
My name is Curtis Smith. My disability diagnosis is that I am a long-term HIV survivor, going on 40 years. I also am a cancer survivor. I'm currently living with diabetes as well. I work for TruEvolution. We're a nonprofit organization that serves San Bernardino and Riverside County. We are a health equity, racial, and social justice nonprofit. So we do free HIV testing, non-medical case management, behavioral health, support groups, and then also we have our transitional housing program where you can reside up to 2 years called Project Legacy. So thank you for having me today.
Excellent. Welcome to Walk and Roll Live. A lot to unpack there. Congratulations on surviving cancer. And also, it leads me kind of to the first question that I wanted to ask was, it's changed so much having HIV over the years.
There's a lot to unpack. And nothing like you.
So for you, it's been almost 40 years. I think it was, obviously years ago, it was more of a death sentence. So it's great to see that, that people are surviving and living thriving lives now. So talk a little bit about that. How is it? Does that hamper the work that you do, that people aren't, they just kind of maybe think that it's all taken care of and everything's fine, or,
Well, that's a misconception that people are still not currently getting HIV and diagnoses. Currently in Riverside County, we have a pretty high rate of new diagnoses. They're going up. And currently it's between the ages of 13 and 24. And also we're getting some people that are over 50 that are currently getting new diagnoses. Yeah. And I believe that's really across the country, especially for Black and Brown communities. That's our highest rate. And I think that's because of the lack of education. And that's why it's important as we're doing outreach, because I am the outreach linkage to care and HIV testing manager here. So as we're doing outreach, as we're speaking to the community, we're educating them as well on prevention and letting them know, hey, it's still a really issue.
That's what I was curious about. So some of your time has to be spent on educating so that you can hopefully kind of curtail those numbers, but then you have to take care of the people who have HIV. So how do you have clinics to help them identify?
Yeah, sure. So right now we have partnered with, and we have MOUs with like organizations like Neighborhood Healthcare, Planned Parenthood, also KPC Health, Timid Global, and also AIDS Healthcare Foundation. But in particular, like Neighborhood Healthcare, which are the medical providers, they're the ones that are going to encounter someone newly diagnosed or someone that needs treatment that has fallen out of care. Planned Parenthood is very unique because they do preliminary testing, preliminary positive testing, and that's when you just get the 20-minute HIV test. But they're getting new diagnosis. So what that looks like, they'll give us a call or an email and they'll let us know, hey, we have someone that's newly diagnosed. Could you come and do a warm handoff? We'll go to their facility and actually do an intake with that person, introduce them to services. So, for example, when I was diagnosed in 1987 in Los Angeles, you were just giving your diagnosis, follow up with your doctor. No counseling, nothing, no supportive services like we now.
No extra care.
Yeah, correct. Or just guidance. Yeah. Just guidance.
Peer support, right.
Correct, yeah. Correct. So those are all the things that we provide here at TruEvolution. I've been working personally in HIV advocacy for over 20 years.
Wow.
I am born in Los Angeles, but I migrated out to here when I got married in 1990, being newly diagnosed and not finding any services in the Inland Empire, particularly in the Hemet and San Jacinto area. I originally moved in Moreno Valley, but still it was difficult to find supportive services. So we were literally a family living with HIV. So it wasn't myself, it was my wife, it was my children as well. And so you can imagine in those early days what that was looking like for us. And then our youngest daughter, she ended up being a paraplegic due to brain damage. From fevers from getting HIV because a lot of the antibiotics she was allergic to. And she passed away at 4 years old.
Sorry to hear that.
And my wife passed away in 2009, and recently my two children. So I do have two grandchildren that are not positive due to my daughters that have passed away, taking their medication during their pregnancies.
Oh, wow.
Something that, my daughters didn't have, at that time. They didn't have the mother-to-child medication.
Right.
Medication.
So,
that's
so
fascinating.
you've probably seen many or a lot of progress over the years with medication, treatments, all those things.
Yeah. And I was actually a part of the clinical trials in the beginning because when I was diagnosed, there was only AZT. And so I went ahead and, became part of the clinical trials to advance the drugs that we have now.
Which I think people don't realize how important those things are. That somebody has to be willing to step up and say, I'll try it for those, successes to occur.
Correct. And even in my situation, I was like, and I was given that sentence, you won't live to, your family won't be here for 5 years.
Yeah, right.
Well, my daughter did pass away at 4, but my wife survived. I'll be 60 in December. My wife survived to 43, and my one daughter survived to 34, and my other daughter to 29.
Yeah, so quite a long ways.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for that. I miss my family a lot.
Yeah.
But I have my grandchildren that are not born with HIV.
Right.
So the legacy continues.
That's amazing how that kind of works out. Light, silver lining and light and darkness, right?
Yeah. The dichotomy of that is
right.
Actually.
So what's the life expectancy of somebody that gets diagnosed now?
Oh
much
my God!
better prospect.
You can live a very long, healthy life. Because what happens is when you're newly diagnosed in 2024, you immediately get on your antiretroviral medications. And if you're paying attention to your sexual health and getting those STI screenings, you can find out if you're positive. And the virus hasn't had a chance to eat away at your immune system. Right. That's what it does. It replicates very quickly, depending on the strand that you came in contact with. And so, once they get on their medications, their T cells, their CD4 T helper cells have not had a chance to completely break down to AIDS, because there's being HIV positive, and then there's having the diagnosis of AIDS. And that's when your CD4 T helper cells are below 200.
Right.
So I was just going to say, like so many things, early detection, another positive.
Correct. Yeah. Same with cancer, early detection. After battling with HIV, here comes cancer. I was like, oh, great.
Right.
I was like, just add insult to injury. But it was caught early, had surgery, and they're monitoring me now. My PSAs are up a little bit, so they're kind of freaking out, which I appreciate. Yeah. Getting me in there for that PET, because the cancer I had was aggressive.
Right.
So it was isolated, it hadn't spread, they were able to get it. And so they'd be keeping an eye on me. So
Curtis is a survivor.
Curtis ain't going down.
not going down without a fight.
There you go.
Right.
So what's it like for somebody today that gets that diagnosis? I mean, years ago it just was it's devastating, but now there's more hope. But do they know that? Are people aware?
Yeah, you know what? They're not aware until they're diagnosed, because when they originally get that diagnosis, they are sitting there feeling like they have a death sentence on them.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
No, because the education is out there, but if they haven't accessed it before, to not panic if they do get HIV, then they are in a very worried state, and they think they're going to die. But there's also a thing called stigma. I
was going to say, so would you say that there's still taboo and stigma?
Oh my God!
That didn't change, right? The care for it changed.
That has not changed with people that are not educated. If they find out that you're HIV, you can't sleep in my bed. I don't want you eating from my forks. Here's plastic. It still happens. You have people even within the healthcare system that have their biases. People they automatically think you're sexual promiscuous.
Right.
Sexually promiscuous.
Right.
You have HIV. I don't know if there's that level of stigma with other STIs, but definitely with HIV. And then also, when you do get HIV, I remember how I felt. I was like, what did I do to get myself in this position?
Right.
I was just dating somebody. I was a very monogamous person. I wasn't, I remember one time, and I won't mention the name, but someone did an article, a very prominent paper did an article on me, and they put in there everything else was fine, but they put in there due to his sexual, promiscuous. I mean, they made me look like I was, and that was not the case. Yeah. So, but that's the writer's perception that I was a promiscuous person. Now, did I protect myself at that moment? Back then, I didn't know. We weren't educated, especially in the Black communities.
Right.
And that goes for all communities, right?
Yeah. And so, well, I won't say, I have to correct you there, because education in Black and Brown communities is not as accessible as it is in white communities, and then also it's cultural because, for instance, I'm African American, believe it or not. I got vitiligo. I think those clinical trials did something to me,
right?
Because it changed my whole complexion and
your tone, and
that's a whole nother
episode.
That's another episode. But we don't, in our cultures, we're not talking about sexual health. Yeah. We're not talking about mental health. Even with it, because that's not how we cope with life. That's not how we're taught to cope with life.
Yeah.
And so I think in other communities that those conversations are being had. There's access to mental health. It's talked about. In my culture, it's like, okay, you just walk it off. Just go figure it out. He's just crazy.
But to be clear for me is I'm saying, whatever community you're in, if you're not protecting yourself, you're running the chance.
Absolutely.
Right. That's all I mean. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I do relate, Curtis, in that way. I did teach for America. So actually what brought me to Atlanta was teaching in Vine City here in Atlanta. So I do understand some of that, kind of being immersed in it, and being a person from, a different culture that came in and was like talking to the kids about different stuff, because that's just how I was raised. And I was amazed at, how differently things were looked at. Yeah. Or them saying, take your eyes out because they were blue. My eyes are blue, very blue. And the kids would always be like, whoa, those cannot be real, because, it's not something they see every day. Or can we touch your hair because it feels different and consistency? I totally get how it's a different world, and you don't talk about that or this or.
No, those conversations are taboo. I get people here today counseling. When I'm counseling, I'm giving the whole sex education class that they should have got when they were 15 years old with their mom and dad.
Yeah.
I never would, and it's real. And I even found that even in all cultures, honestly.
Yeah.
I find those conversations, especially sexual health, is a taboo.
Yeah, it's a tough conversation to have, but
it is.
You have to do it, right?
Yeah, you got to do it nowadays because you have so many things that are, at your fingertips,
Well, that's what I was going to say. The internet is also a source of much misinformation, and you need a real human to sit you down and say, hey, this isn't a video game. You don't get to do over.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's walk through that process. Then now, the person has got the diagnosis. They've got the shock, but you've come in and talked to them and give them hope again. And then where's that path of service go from there?
Correct. So what we do is we just, tell them about our organization, everything that we have to offer. We see what service category that they fit in, so we kind of do a needs assessment. But the first things first is getting them on their antiretroviral medications.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what we do at that moment, I'm texting our AHF or our provider that best suits them, that will get them into their appointment to get on their antiretroviral medications immediately. And we try to do that within 7 days of the diagnosis.
Gotcha.
So you're really acting as a caseworker in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And Curtis, a question, is that covered by health insurance?
Yeah. So
good.
there is the ADAP program which is the AIDS Drug Assistance Program. That helps with that. Also, Ryan White. Ryan White is the last payer of last resort. And so Ryan White is the federal program. That's the name of the federal program. It's named on behalf of Ryan White, a hemophiliac that died during the AIDS epidemic, the initial part in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
He was a hemophiliac, and he was transmitted the virus through blood transfusion.
Yeah.
So I think he was diagnosed when he was like maybe 13, but he died at 18 or 19. So they named the federal program. And so those dollars go into all the states. So money is set aside. So our transitional grant area is San Bernardino and Riverside County. So there's a pot of money that comes here that is governed by the Inland Empire HIV Planning Council, which I was a member of for 7 years. I'm back on it. I also was a community co-chair. So what we do on the Inland Empire HIV Planning Council, that is ran by actual people that are living with HIV that allocate dollars to service categories.
Okay. Nice.
Non-medical and medical.
Okay.
And the program you work with, how did that actually start? To rewind a bit in time.
Sure. Yeah. So TruEvolution was founded by Gabriel Maldonado. He's our founder and our CEO. He truly leads with his heart. He's an alumni of UCR. I'm LGBTQ, also he's LGBTQ, and we do serve that population. I just want to say that we serve all people, but we do, like in our transitional housing program, we also house people that are not living with HIV. We're helping all people that are in a homeless crisis. Right. So I think COVID did that for most nonprofits. It's like people were looking for services anywhere. They didn't care where they got it.
Yeah.
So that kind of really opened the door. But yeah, when we try and link them to their ART immediately. And if they're not positive, what we do is educate them on PrEP and PEP. So PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis. It's one pill you can take every day that prevents HIV. It doesn't prevent other STIs, but it does prevent HIV. And then also we have PEP, which is like the morning after pill. So if someone comes in here and says, "Oh, last night I think I may have an exposure," we can get them on PEP within 72 hours, but it has to be within that window of time.
Gotcha. So what typically brings somebody in to get tested?
Usually they feel that they have had an exposure, so they had unprotected sex.
Gotcha.
So if you like me to go through the 6 fluids in which you can get it,
let's educate.
If it's not appropriate, I won't.
No, let's educate.
No, might as well tell the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go. So the 6 fluids in which you can acquire the antibodies for HIV. So what it is it's the antibody. So if you have a cold or a flu, antibodies show up in our system, period, right?
Yep.
And so what we're trying to do is getting a preliminary positive diagnosis, okay? So what we do is we test them, and if they're positive, we navigate them to the appropriate resource. If they're not, we encourage them to get on PrEP and PEP. So the 6 fluids in which you can acquire the virus is pre-com, vaginal secretions, anal secretions, semen, also mother-to-child breast milk, and blood. So that means if you're doing intravenous drugs.
Okay.
So that's the ways they can enter into your body.
Yeah.
A lot of people think like having oral sex and that kind of thing, you can get HIV. No way. You cannot. You can't. It's not communicable. You have to have a sexual encounter. Now, what can happen is if you have an open sore somewhere, that's the way it can enter into your body as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but if there's any blood, once the blood hits the oxygen, the virus dies. Any virus or bacteria dies once the oxygen hits it.
So in your outreach, do you have, you try to educate people to get tested on a regular basis and not wait for this perceived risky situation maybe that they were in?
Correct. We do have people that come in every 3 months. So there's a window period.
Okay.
So the time in which the virus will appear in your system is as early as 2 weeks, but definitely by 3 months.
Okay.
You will know if you have a preliminary positive and diagnosis for HIV. So say for instance, someone came in and they had an exposure 2 weeks ago. We test them today and they didn't come up positive. Well, you need to come back in 30 days or maybe in 3 weeks, to test again, because in 1 month, it's definitely going to show up negative or positive.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And is that something you guys offer free?
Yes, it is.
Right.
We do free HIV testing here on site. We also have a mobile testing unit where we go out and engage the community at events. We go to the riverbed. We follow street medicine doctors. We have on-site events here. We also are doing a wellness in action program. And if you mind, I'll just go get the kit.
Okay, so we can look at it. Also, if you have an event coming up, if you have a flyer for that, you can send that to us and we'll put it on our website, on our events page, let people know about it. Anytime you have something like that, please share that with us. Yeah.
So this is our Wellness in Action kit.
Oh, nice.
And so what we're doing is we are giving this out to the public in English and Spanish. And so they get a free at-home HIV test kit.
Oh, wow.
This is valued at $50 to $60.
Wow.
So they can take it home and get tested. A lot of times they'll see this and they want us to do it with them right away on the MTU, and we can do it. Mm-hmm. So we can do it with them. We just can't touch it, but you have to be a certified test counselor.
Gotcha.
But that's something they can take home and do at home.
Yes, they can take home and do it home. Yeah. Yes.
And will they get the results at home while doing that, or do
they get the results in 20 minutes?
Okay. Wow, that's another thing.
So
I didn't realize that quickly.
Sounds similar to a COVID test now.
Yeah. But what we do is we pack resource information in here. We put, condoms and things like that and sexual health information. And then if they're positive, to come back to us so we can navigate them to get their medication and any other supportive services we have. Like we have support groups. We have a positive support group that's LGBTQ specific. And then we have a positive support group that's open to anyone and their allies. We also have a Spanish support group as well,
which is tremendous.
Yeah,
and
we give these out in English and Spanish.
So once you get that diagnosis, there's a lot of support services to help you out.
Yeah.
Answer questions. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't had anyone turn down that I've done a warm handoff from a clinic or a provider that has turned down our services.
So I was going to ask about that, Curtis. You collaborate with kind of outside organizations. So you're getting referrals. If somebody's tested somewhere else, they'll be introduced to TruEvolution and they can get some of those support services.
Correct. And
Awesome.
we're on 211 as well.
Okay. 211 is a kind of like a 911 for information here locally in the Riverside, San Bernardino area. And that kind of leads me, I wanted to ask you about is, we're here, we do this from the Inland Empire of Southern California, but this is hopefully a program that's heard nationwide, and we even have other countries that are listening. But is this the kind of service that's available I don't know if you have a handle on it, how many communities across the country that have something like TruEvolution?
Yeah, so you have AIDS Healthcare Foundation. They're more, they're medical, so they really don't do non-medical and case management. They do a little bit, but if there's any other supportive services, they usually refer them to the local nonprofit organization. But you have nonprofit organizations like you have Desert AIDS Project in Palm Springs. Out here, you have Foothill AIDS Project. We're all in TruEvolution. We are all Ryan White providers. Now, we don't provide every service. Like DAP does has a full clinic. We don't have a clinic yet. Yeah. That is in the works.
So I was going to say, so is that something you're looking forward to as a clinic?
Yes. We're starting a clinic probably 2025, 2026. We're also opening up another site in Mid-Riverside County, which is a Hemet, San Jacinto. In Riverside County, that region is a hot spot for new diagnoses, right?
Mm-hmm. Is it that same age group that you mentioned, the 13 to 24? Or is it a different?
Yeah, it's still that same age group. And then, they're the most at risk. But lately, we've been finding it's been more like 2022 to maybe 30. And then, like I said, some seniors, are getting it because now, some seniors are still engaging and they want to meet younger people,
Right.
They get in a moment where they didn't protect themselves or weren't educated and have acquired HIV. The oldest I've had a newly diagnosed person at 17 years old, at 70. And their kids were freaking out. Oh my God.
You talk about outreach, right?
She was really cool about it. She was like, well, why, I'm educated about this.
But the kids, not so much.
So they were having a complete fit. Yeah. They were like,
and obviously educated doesn't make you exempt, right?
Yeah, right.
She's a good case of education doesn't make you always exempt.
Right.
But it's important that we educate.
And she was white. She was Caucasian. So she was definitely not in a high-risk category.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But she had messed around with someone that was younger.
So look out, Cougar.
Yeah, look out. So tell us about the initiative with the HIV COVID-19 outreach.
Oh, so pretty much, we got involved in that response. We were doing COVID-19 testing. Mm-hmm. We were had our test counselors here were certified to do testing. So we were out in the community with everybody else, educating and navigating folks to resources. So we actually became a resource ourselves.
Yeah. So is that ongoing or is that kind of quieted down now?
We don't offer the test like that.
Yeah.
But if we do run into a situation like in our transitional housing program, we've had incidences of COVID. And so our counselors here we've actually had to go sit outside, had everyone do a test. We've actually had to set up a little crew, COVID crew, to test everybody in the houses. Yeah.
Yeah. Then isolate those who were positive. Yeah. Any upcoming initiatives that you're working on?
As far as initiatives, other than the opening of our new site in Southwest Riverside, Project Legacy is new. We just opened the IE LGBTQ Center in June. So what we do, so we're now like a drop-in center, but it's really for the community at large. People come in here. We have the homeless population that comes in here and needs services, and sometimes they get tested or they just want to sit and be. And so we just opened it in June. And so what we want to do is build programming around that. For LGBTQ youth can come in here and just be, and there have services like workforce, education, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, and a couple other things before we let you go.
Sure.
First, right off the hand is the general public. What can you tell them, or what would you request of them to kind of help you in this work?
Yeah, so I would request of them to realize that HIV is closer to them than they think. It's in your family, it's in your friends, it's in your community, it's your neighbor, and that it's not uncommon. And because of stigma, people don't disclose. And, and to realize that the illness it's sexually transmitted. It is not transmitted from giving someone a hug, shaking someone's hand, and just being there for them. And even medically caring for them. We have people that have been ostracized from their family, because of this. Yeah. And so I would say, get involved, be the change that you want to see, and just educate yourself, and don't listen to, what people are saying, how you can get it, find out for yourself. And I think that's with anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people listen to hearsay and read what's on Google, but really the main thing is it's closer to them than they think.
Yeah. Sad that the stigma is still so strong after all these years. And then I guess the final thing is, how do they get a hold of you if they'd like to volunteer or help or get tested or need services?
Sure. Yeah. So all of these services are available on our website. It's www.truevolution.org. So that's TRUEVOLUTION.org.
Perfect. And you can find that on we have a resources page, Curtis, and we'll put your link up there.
Just one other question. So for funding, you guys obviously are part of the Ryan White Network, so that's federal funding, but do you also do fundraisers and things, or how do you get your funding? Yeah,
so it's through Ryan White. Like I said, Ryan White is a payer of last resort. We don't have all of the Ryan White services. We have some. We do early intervention. We bill on early intervention, non-medical case management, linkage to care, and also HIV testing. They also have food and transportation, and we don't have those programs as of yet. So what happens is if we don't have a service that they need, then we can refer them to another agency. But you can't double dip if we're providing the same service.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. And so, we navigate people to all services. So that's why collaboration is so very important between other nonprofits like ourselves and housing organizations, food organizations, clothing, transportation. We stay connected to everybody.
You guys are doing a good job of that, because that's something I think that a lot of organizations are talking about. Doing more collaborations with other organizations, but you guys seem like you're ahead of the curve. So good job.
Yeah, I mean that's, and sometimes what I think, especially if you're starting a nonprofit and you don't have all the funding in the world. Find out what's available in the community, and those collaborations can provide services for your clients until you get the funding that you need.
And the labor, sometimes you can't afford a big staff when you're a nonprofit. So,
like, you can help people out of the trunk of your car. I did it for years.
Yeah.
I did it for years. Yeah. It is, if there's a will, there's a way, there's nothing. It's like, all people are looking for is a helping hand.
Yeah.
Just looking for a helping hand,
Well, thank you for coming on and sharing with us. True Evolution. Absolutely. Curtis Smith, thank you so much for coming on Walk and Roll Live.
Thank you.
Each week on Walk and Roll Live, We share honest and open stories of people loving with a disability.
Came out of my shower. I slid on a puddle of water and flew up. I don't know, my legs went up higher than my head, landed on the beam of the shower, lost all sensation in my legs. Within like a second, I knew I was paralyzed without knowing I was paralyzed.
Join us weekly for another powerful episode. Walk and Roll Live wherever you get your podcasts. Life, limitless, subscribe now.
Walk and roll live with Doug, Vincent, and Irish. This is Walk and Roll Live with Doug, Vincent, and Irish.
Awesome. This conversation was like really enlightening and interesting to just see how, growing up as a younger person before, how AIDS was kind of more on the forefront in different things and learning about care and things. And now to hear, how the evolution has kind of changed over the years, but glad to know that there's community for people, care for people, and maybe evolved care, let's say, with the warm handoff thing.
Yeah. And it sounds like there's a much, a more advanced level of care, because like you say, it was so predominant early on, of course, like many things. Right. But I think a lot of people may have been surprised that it's even still around, so good to see that there are people taking care of those folks. And I don't think we got to everything. They have a long list of things that they do. So if you want to get more information, just go to TruEvolution on their website, which is up on our resources page, and you can see they have a whole housing thing that I don't think we really got into, people. But definitely one of the big things they do. All right. What else? Oh, coming up this week, just some things to highlight, and they're on the events page. Disability Rights Timeline, November 19th. We had him on, Fernando Oliveras, I guess probably 6-8 months ago. He, as a young man in his teens, saw, I don't know if he was exposed to it, and that's what sparked it, but, he saw that there is this rights, timeline that the disability rights fight kind of took, and he made a visual representation of it. A physical thing that he would take places and set it all up, and then do a help me out here.
Conversation.
It's a presentation. There we go. Presentation about it. And so now he's got an event coming up on November 19th, and he's going to do that same thing, but I think he's got a little more sophisticated now. Yeah, he started a couple of organizations and all of that. So that's coming up November 19th. There is a flyer up on our events page. You can get more details about where it is and blah, blah, blah. But set that date aside, November 19th. And then the Triumph Foundation's Adaptive Sports Festival. They do a number of these. The one in Pasadena is coming up on November 2nd. There is a link that you can get all signed up for that on our events page. Anything that you know of that's coming up in your world? Nope.
Getting ready next weekend is Halloween at the RV place, which is like my favorite because tons of people will specifically stay that weekend with kids because we all decorate our RVs and our RV spots, and they do a little contest and the kids dress up. So, I get to be the auntie that appears with the good candy.
So the kids go around and collect.
Yeah.
Oh,
they go around and collect. Everybody has their little jars. And like last year, my husband and I, we did adult trick or treats too. Because, once it's been a day of trick or treating, the adults might need a different kind of trick or treat as well.
Yeah. Does that come in the form of a shot?
It did. We had solo cups and we had.
See how I picked up on that?
Good. I wonder, have you experienced that in your life before?
I have I've never experienced that component, but I am going to suggest it because we have a number of what they call trick or trunks or trunk or treats or whatever.
Oh yeah,
they call
trunk
them.
or treats. Yeah.
Yeah, where because I'm immersed in the classic car community.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they'll find a place, and what they've done. We've gone to a number of them. The local community college, has an automotive shop. Curriculum, and so they will do a fundraiser. So in the parking lot, they set it up, and you know, then they have the culinary department come out and do hamburgers and all that stuff. So.
Oh, that's so fun. I love them. It's a good way to do community. Everybody's sort of come together to spoil the kids, and I love that.
Yeah. Creativity comes out. Yeah, it's really a lot of fun. So if you have one in your area, definitely go check it out. If you're looking for resources, a couple of new ones I can't think of right now, but there's some new ones on there. So peruse that every once in a while. You might find something that pertains to you. If not, let us know. We'll try to hunt it down, track it down, and find that for you. And next week, I have an invitation. I was talking with somebody that definitely is coming on. We're just kind of like working out when.
Massaging dates.
Yeah, so I won't give you any false hope who it's going to be. Well, we will have a guest.
It's going to be a surprise. Once we get into this season where everybody's calendars are a bit more packed, it's going to be a hurry up and wait and see.
So the good news is everybody that's kind of in the timeline, I might be able to bump somebody up into this spot, but we'll definitely make it work. We'll make it work. All right. Well, everybody have a great week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, turn on the little bell, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
ding, ding, hit the ding, ding.
If you don't want to leave it up to that chance, just send us an email on our website and we'll put you on the email list that we send out. Just one nice little email a week that just tells you that the new episode is here. So, but you can start looking for it every Tuesday at 3:00 Pacific time. So wherever you are, you can do the correlation, but there you go. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Doug Vincent, with Addie Rich. From the Agyar Professional Training Studio, this has been Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories, Life Limitless.
Walk and roll live. Life's the best. Walk and roll live. Life limitless. Story shared in every heart. Healing starts to play its part. In this journey we unite, shining with a glowing light. Insight found in every voice. Together we make our choice. Strength and wisdom grow within. This is where our tales begin. Walk and roll, we stand so tall, breaking barriers, breaking walls, creating space where all belong. In our unity we're strong. Trusted sources by our side, guiding us with every stride. Empowerment is our goal, filling every missing role. Awareness spreading like the dawn. Independence carries on. In this vibrant space we find peace of heart and peace of mind. Walk and roll, we stand so tall, breaking barriers, breaking walls, creating space where all belong. In our unity we're strong. Trusted sources by our side, guiding us with every stride. Empowerment is our goal, filling every missing role. Trusted sources by our side, guiding us with every stride. Empowerment is our goal, filling every missing role. In our unity we're strong.